So, people, our prelims. We have some interesting fights on the card, right? Very interesting fights. So, yeah, definitely, I don't think you want to miss these, right? And we open up with the Ultimate Fighter welterweight final, right? This was meant to take place at UFC 319, but I think it was Rodrigo that fell ill, you know? So, yes, we have got, how to pronounce these friggin' names, Rodrigo Cesadano against Daniel Donchico, I think. Right? So yeah, let's take a look. I mean, they both, well, obviously, Danilo was on Team Cormier. Actually, I think they were both on Team Cormier. Yeah, I think they were both on Team Cormier, if I remember correctly. Yes. So yeah, they were both on Team Cormier, and yeah, it's to find out who wins the UFC contract. They're both six fight win streaks, you know. Both very good, but last time out for 319, I picked Danilo, right? So I am sticking with Danilo to clinch the win. I think, you know, Rodrigo does have the power. He does gas. Now, they have had even longer to prep, but I think with his wrestling and the rest of his game, I think Danilo still takes the win. Okay, so we then go to the bantamweights, the ladies, right? We have two ladies fights on the card, a bantamweight and a strawweight. So yes, this is the bantamweight. We have Montserrat Rendon against Alice Pereira, right? So let's take a look, right? Montserrat Rendon, aka Monster. She is 36, 5'8", 68-inch reach. She is coming off a loss from her last fight, so she is currently 1-1 in the UFC with one win in Invicta. Last time out, which was March 2024, she lost to Daria Zalenkova. It was, she lost a decision. Her win, her first fight in the UFC, was against Tamires Vidal. That was a split decision, and that was in September 2023. So, yeah, not a frequent flyer. And she fights Alice Golden Girl Pereira, right, who is 19, making her the youngest, I think the youngest fighter, the youngest female fighter at least, on the card. She is 5'10", with a 71-inch reach, so she does have the reach advantage. She has a 5-0 record overall, pro record, with a 6-fight win streak, so that's amateur, right? When we look at her fights, so her last fight was December 2024. That was a unanimous win over Samara Santos, but that was a 5-fight win, right? And she won a title. I'm not quite sure. It's Cage something. Cage Masters. Right? So, yeah, she's the Cage Masters champion. In the fight before that, August 2024, she got a second round knockout. July, she got a first round stoppage, ground and pound. That was still 2024. And she also fought in April 2024, a first round knockout. So she keeps busy, right? Now, her first pro fight was a rear naked choke. And yeah, the next 4 were knockouts. So, a good record, right? I think, she's coming in with momentum, right? Coming with momentum. I'm going to take our debutante to get the win here, Right, so we then go to the flyweight. We have Alessandro Costa against Alden Coria. So, Alden Cobra Coria, he is 27, 5'8", 67-inch reach. He's got a 10-3 record with 1 no contest. He's currently on a 3-fight win streak. Okay, and this is his UFC debut. So he went 5-2 in LFA, 5-1 with 1 no contest in Fury. His last fight was May this year. He got a second round knockout of German Pineda Ponce. He also fought in January this year, where he got a no contest. Well, it was a no contest against Paris Moran. So, I have no clue. Right, I do wish when it's a no contest, they kind of stipulate what the original result is, and what was it? Was it drugs? Was it illegal shot? Like, what was the reason? Like, that would definitely be useful. In his other fights, though, right? I mean, it's mainly finishes. He's got a few subs, like a Von Fluke, rear naked, guillotine. So he's got a few subs. And then he's got a good few knockouts. Oh, he's got an arm triangle as well. So he's got a good few knockouts. You know what I mean? So it seems rounded. And he does fight often. So he fought twice this year already. He fought... he fought twice in 2024, but a few fights were cancelled. Well, no, 3 times in 2024, and a couple were cancelled. He fought twice in 2023, again, more cancelled fights. And it's a bit like that, so he's fighting regularly. He's got submissions, he's got knockouts, which is all good. Shows roundedness. And he is going up against Alessandro Nono Costa, right, who is 29, 5'4", got a 67-inch reach. He's got a record of 14-4. Coming off a win in his last fight, right? He's currently 2-2 in the UFC, and he came via the Contender Series. So last time he stopped Kevin Borjas, second round, and that was May 2024. He got a bonus for that, right? His fight before that was a loss to Steve Erceg. He beat Jimmy Flick before that. he lost his UFC debut against Amir Albazi, but it was third round, right? So, you know, to get to the third against Albazi, who we know is a really good fighter, that is pretty good. And the Usyk fight was a decision, which again, right, going a decision against Usyk, that is impressive. So, you know, his 2 wins in the UFC have been stoppages, right? And to get to the UFC, he won a title, right? It was, actually, I have no clue what organization that is. But yeah, won a title, was a first round stoppage, so didn't even have to go to 5, right? Does have an arm, well, actually, I was going to say he's got 3 arm bars, normal. No, sorry, 4. 1 flying arm bar, impressive. A rear naked choke, you know. So, yeah, he does have some subs, and it does seem to be armbar is the favourite, you know. And as I say, he's got a good few knockouts. So, again, right, it's a tough one, man. You know, boy, it's a tough. You know, I think Alden has, as I said, he's fought twice this year. It is his debut. And Alessandro has got the experience of the bright lights. Boy, they both have knockout power. They both have subs. I think I'm going to go with Costa due to his experience. You know, I do think this was a short notice one for got Coria too. Right, so next up we go to the middleweights. Zachary Reese against Sedriques Dumas. Right, so what do we have? Okay, Cedric the Reaper Dumas. He's 30, 6'2", 79-inch reach. He's got a 10-3 record, coming off a loss in his last fight. So he's 3-3 in the UFC. He came via the Contender Series. So he lost to Mikhail Olejniczak. That was in April this year. It was a first round stoppage. I think that might have been Olejniczak's first fight as a nerd. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, he won the fight before that against Dennis Tulum. That was August 2024. Won a decision. Lost to Nosultan Rozabayev. But, you know, he's tough. That was a first round stoppage, March 2024. He, you know, got a guillotine in the first round on a Contender Series to get to the UFC. Lost to Josh Friend in his debut, ironically via guillotine. That was in the second round. But he then beat Cody Brundage and Abu Azatayev. Right, so, yeah, you know, he's got a number of knockouts, right? Just a couple of subs, the guillotine and a rear naked in his debut fight as a pro. So he will be going up against Zachary Reese, the Savage Zachary Reese even. He's 31, 6'4", 77-inch reach. Right, he's got a 9-2 record, coming off a win in his last fight. He's 3-2 in the UFC. He also came via the Contender Series. I think he beat Justin Stolfus, if I remember correctly. So last time out, he beat Duško Todorović, who is also on the card. That was a 3-round decision in May this year. Right, he had lost to Azmat Bekayov in January this year, first round stoppage, and that broke a 2-fight win streak that he'd put together, right, with wins over José Medina and Julian Marquez. Yeah, he lost his debut to Cody Brundage. And that was the slam, right? That was on that card where there was the back-to-back slams. But he has looked good since then. Now, he's got submissions. He's got knockouts. You know, he is rounded. And when he kind of puts it together, he is good, right? And I do think with a lot of the stuff going on in Dumas's personal life, right? If I'm thinking of maybe I've got people mixed up, but I think he's been arrested a number of times, right? When he's not been fighting. I think Zachary Reese, with the skill set and everything else, right? Coming off a win, that focus, I think Reese takes the win. Right, so we then go to our flyweights, right? And it is Jesús Santos Aguilar against Luis Gurule. Okay, so Luis Grim Gurule, he is 31, 5'5", 64-inch reach. He's got a 10-1 record, right? So he's coming off his first loss last time out, right? That was his UFC debut. He came via the Contender Series. So he lost to Ode Osborne, second round stoppage. That was April this year. He got a third round split decision win over Nick Pincinini. And that was October 2024 for the Contender Series. His fights, you know, outside the UFC, he's got a few stoppages, one submission. You know what I mean? And he is going against Jesús Aguilar, right? Who is 29, 5'4", 62.5-inch reach. He's got an 11-3 record. He's also coming off a loss in his last fight. He is 3-2 in the UFC, and he also came via the Contender Series. So he last fought February 23, and that was a loss to Rafael Estevan. Yeah, before that, he'd had a 3-fight win streak, right? He beat Stuart Nicole, first round guillotine. He did miss weight for that one. There was a split decision in February 2024 against Matus Mondoka, and a first round stoppage of Shannon Ross in July 2023. He lost his debut against Tatsu Taira, first round armbar, but you know, Tatsu is again very, very good. You know, he got a third round guillotine to get the UFC contract via the Contender Series. So yeah, very skilled, right? Very skilled, got subs, has finishes. I mean, it's a tricky one. He does have the experience, more experience in the UFC, right? So there is that on Aguilera's, I think, terms. I think I'm taking Aguilar, right? I think it's going to be an interesting one, right? I think it's going to be back and forth, but I think I'm taking Aguilar. So our next fight is our second and last female encounter. This time it's the strawweight. We have Tatiana Suarez against Amanda Lemos. All right, so Amanda Lemos, she is 38, 5'4", 65-inch reach. She's got a 15-4-1 record, coming off a win in her last outing. She's 9-4 in the UFC. So she beat Isman Lucindo via a unanimous decision. That was March 2025. If I remember right, Lucindo didn't really do much in that fight. It was very kind of bizarre, right? Before that, she lost to, right, our title challenger, Verna Jandiroba, right, who is going to be challenging for the vacant strawweight title. I think in November, right? I think that fight's at Madison Square Garden, if I remember correctly. I might be... Oh, it might be the card before that. Yes. She has a win over the other title challenger, Mackenzie Dern. That was February 2024, unanimous decision. She did accrue a title fight against Weili Zhang. Zhang Weili even lost that, right? Kind of convincingly as well. Right? But, you know, she is skilled, right? She's got some notable wins. Michelle Waterstone Gomez, Angela Hill, Montserrat Conja Ruiz, Mizuki Inoue, although I did think Inoue won that fight, right? So yeah, she does have some notable wins. She is fighting Tatiana Suarez, though, right? 34, 5'5", 66-inch reach. She's 10-1, coming off her first loss. That was the last fight of the current and soon-to-be former strawweight champion, Zhang Weili, right? She's 7-1 in the UFC. And I think the thing with Suarez, right? She, tremendous wrestler, got really good jiu-jitsu. Her striking is the thing that's a bit limited. You know, that's been her downfall. Now, the Weili fight was in February this year. So she has had, you know, a number of months to keep on working on the striking. And although striking is limited, she has been working on it. So we have seen slight improvements. And I think, you know, we should see even more improvements this time out, right? And I just think, although her striking is slightly limited, Lemos's isn't, you know, incredible. And I think Lemos is tending to get caught up in a clinch, and, you know, so I do think there's going to be plenty of chances for Suarez to get takedowns. So yeah, I'm going to take Suarez for the win in this one. We then go to the lightweights. We have Claudio Puelles against Joaquim Silva. Okay, so Joaquim Neto BJJ Silva, right, that's a terrible nickname. But he's 36, 5'8", 69-inch reach. He's got a 13-5 record. He's coming off a loss in his last outing. Right, he's 6-5 in the UFC. Lost to Drakkar close. That was May 2024. That was a unanimous decision. He does have a unanimous decision win over Clay Guida. He lost to Arman Tazukian. That was a 3rd round stoppage. Beat Jesse Ronson, 2nd round stoppage. That was from October 2022. Does have a grappling win over Neil Magny. Right, lost to Nasrat Hasparat, Ricky Glenn, Vince Pichel. Does have a win over Jared Gordon. Andrew Holbrook, Raza Maddy. His UFC debut was... he came via The Ultimate Fighter. I think that was The Ultimate Fighter Brazil, right? And he won his debut, which was not... He didn't get to the final, but he did get a contract. And that was against Nazareno Malgari. Now, he does have a few stoppages. But that was kind of earlier on, more or less. He is going up against... Claudio, Prince of Peru, Puelles, right, who's 29, 5'10", 72-inch reach. He's got a 12-4 record. He is coming off 2 losses. Right? He's 5-3 in the UFC. So he lost a split decision to Faris Zaim. That was February 2024. And he lost to Dan Hooker, 2nd round stoppage in November 2022. Right? He came via The Ultimate Fighter. I think again it was the South American version of the show. Yes, it would have been. No, this is 2016. He lost the final to Martin Bravo. But he got the contract anyway, and he won like his next 5 fights, right? The most notable of those, I would say, was against Clay Guida, where he got a knee bar 1st round finish, but then he's got the losses. So I think he's coming off, like, he has submissions, right? Does like a knee bar. Has got several of those. Now, he definitely needs a win, right? Puelles definitely needs a win. Otherwise, it might be it, right? I think he's got good submissions. I think Puelles might pull it out. I think he might save his career with a win. So we then jump to the middleweight. We have José Medina against Duško Todorović. They're both, I think this is a loser goes home fight, right? Duško Thunder Todorović. He is 31, 6'1", 74-inch reach. He's got a 12-6 record, and he is on a 3-fight losing streak. Yeah, he's 3-6 in the UFC. came via the Contender Series. So as we mentioned earlier, he lost to Zachary Reese last time out. It May this year. Manzar Abdul Malik, first round stoppage. That was November 2024. Christian Leroy Duncan finished him. Well, it was a knee injury. First round stoppage. That was March 2023. Now, he started off, he came via, as I say, the Contender Series and got a really good win in his first fight. Daquan Townsend, second round stoppage, got a bonus. He then lost to Puni Soreno and Gregory Rodriguez, both very good. Beat Maki Patuli, got a first round stoppage over him, but then lost to Chidi Nomamaraji first round, but then beat Gordon Wright. So it has been very up and down for Todorović. Now he's going up against José Chico Medina, 34, 6 foot, 74.5-inch reach. He's 11-5 overall, also on a 3-fight losing streak. That's why I said the loser goes home. So he fought on a Contender Series, lost, then got a short notice call up, lost, got another fight, lost that, right? So he lost the contender to Magneded Gadatalulov, lost to Zachary Reese, and then lost to Atiba Gautier, right? This March, but I mean, Gautier is a beast, right? He's a beast. So, yeah, there's kind of no shame in that. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. He does have stoppages earlier on in the career. A couple of submissions, right? He hasn't won yet in the UFC. So, Todorović has. So Medina really does need this, but I do think this is a winnable fight for Todorović, right? So it should be, because of the serious need for a win, right? And probably to look impressive. This is the headline fight of the prelims, so I think there should be a barn burner. Now, it doesn't always go to plan, people, right? But, yeah, let's see what happens with this one.